King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents The Broadcasters Podcast, a weekly media commentary talking about traditional and digital media headlines and talking to the content creators out front and behind the scenes. Here is the King of Podcasts. This week on the Broadcasters Podcast, I want to go and talk about influencers. And this might actually take 2 episodes to get through all the content I've actually procured in preparation for this program. There will be no interview this week. Thanks for joining me. This is an important subject, and I've been talking about this with all our previous guests over the last 6 months or so, and it just needs to be bearing repeating. It really does. Influencers are taking over. I have never seen a time where celebrity and show business has meant as little as it does now. The days of the major studios, what they've been doing because of the mistakes and how they have been able to really have been unable to manage anything with the pandemic. They've ruined themselves. That's not even the question Broadway, which is another level in its own. But right now, people are getting vaccinated. There was a major move that happened in New York City this week, or New York State, where movie theaters are going to start becoming open once again at 25% capacity, which is going to stir the major movie theaters to start opening back up in other areas they have not opened up back yet, which is namely Regal Cinemas, putting out a statement saying that they're encouraged by the fact that New York's reopening, and that if LA reopens their theaters, then the movie theaters are going to come back. That sounds like that's the overall sentiment right now of the movie theaters as we speak. The ones that have remained closed throughout. They might have opened up for a little bit, but then the belief will be that if New York and LA theaters are finally open, then the theaters will not be as the exhibition side of the movie industry will not be as reluctant to push out movies to theaters, and that there will be still a chance for movie theaters to continue to go on as they were, and my Friday nights will once again be occupied by movies. Because I'll tell you what, there's been several movies that came out through the streaming services, HBO Max in particular, that have brought out new movies. Judas and Black Messiah, The Littlest Things. I haven't stopped to watch them. I cannot watch movies easily in the cover of my own home when I am so multitasking here. Because what I'm going to watch when I'm doing content here, I'm going to be creating content if I'm going to be at home. But if I want to go ahead and separate myself and enjoy content on its own, I can't focus and just, be on one task and just watch a movie and just sit down and do that. I rarely do it. Right now, for anything I do right now, for wrestling, which I watch quite a few hours of, that's research. That's part of my podcast that I do, right? My Wrestling is Real podcast. For the media stuff, there's quite a few things I reach up in research. The only thing I actually might just not multitask on, but even I multitask then, is I might look at TikTok videos or look at Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. That's pretty much it. And stocks. But other than that, I'm preoccupied. For me to go ahead and sit down and watch a movie, I want to go see a movie when it's brand new in the theater. And I've said this over and over since I started the show. I have to have that. But since we don't have that, the movies are, they've been held back. The fact that the production has been held back as well, and the level of production that's needed to go and produce product that these celebrities are accustomed to, right? Or they are accommodated by. The content creators can run circles around what they're doing, and they can put out pretty quality content in short form as well. Nothing in the long-term form, whether it's a half-hour show or an hour-long series or a 2-hour movie or 3 hours, whatever it might be. What I think is from 2020 to 2021, the lack of the universe style things that we have when it comes to Star Wars or Marvel or the Bond universe or all these different things that have been accustomed in our normal purview of content. We haven't had anything new. Not as much new as it's out there, and whatever is new has not been put out. And that is that's what the movie theaters, that's what the corporates wanted to do with their content. They chose not to put it out there. And for the fact that they're in an industry of which they can be stopped on a rainy day. They could be stopped for a national emergency. The content creation by the grassroots, the influencers, advertisers still want to advertise. Brands still want to be able to promote and market. They need to have someplace to go. The celebrities cannot do it on their own. We've talked about this extensively. And now the tide is turning. The pendulum has swung in the direction of influencers. So when it comes to the importance of branding, of marketing, of advertising, of entertaining the masses, influencers got it. And as for the content, if you are streaming or binge watching content, what happened now is there is new content still coming out through all the major streaming platforms. But the question is, how good of a quality is it? Because it's been filler programming. And it's been programming that people have just been kind of, catching up on. Like even the buzz about new programming right now or new movies has been very little. I don't see as much buzz as I used to see when Stranger Things had a new season come out, and all of a sudden, wow. Bridgerton was the most recent thing, and even that was kind of pushed along because it's a Shonda Rhimes project. Other than that, nothing else. Maybe Cobra Kai. Maybe, there's a couple other shows that might get a little bit of buzz here and there, but really the kind of level of buzz that I've heard has not been. What's been funny is this year, as we're closing out the second month of here in February of 2021, the indicators are all here. When it comes to music, there is new music that comes out, but even some of the music corporate record labels are hesitant of putting new music out because they're supposed to be tied into tours and live projects and, really concerts and merchandise and all of that. So the machines that some of these artists are behind, they're not there. But then the others, this is where new music can come into play. And other stars that just have a good autonomy to themselves, they can just put out new content as much as they want. They can put out new music as much as they want. And they do it. Because really, when you're looking at right now, who is putting out new music in the mainstream? There are a bunch of established stars that are just accustomed to just putting out promos and new songs and releases all over the place. And then independent artists are just putting out new records because even if they don't have an audience to perform in front of, they still want the music out there. And they can still monetize it because the streaming is benefiting them. We're going to talk about that. I also have a section on music I want to talk about as well. I don't know if we're going to make enough time for that, but there was quite a bit of stuff that was going on in terms of music, and Spotify has some announcements that happened this week I want to talk about as well. I don't know if I have time on the show. I want to keep it to an hour because there's so much going on, and I know that what I have this week is going to have to get tabled over. But again, the overall monologue here is that the influencers are making the celebrities antiquated. But there are some celebrities, or some that have gotten celebrity status, that have learned to adopt becoming influencers and have made their way in and have been very successful. I mean, I look at the two differences just today as I'm watching TikTok. So John Travolta comes on here, looks like nothing like he does back in the movies, right? And he's talking about the Scots Challenge and trying to give some shout out. Oh, we got 5 million views as a result of what we did with the video. Okay. Meanwhile, you got Gordon Ramsay, who's made a name for himself across the board, and the guy's just criticizing other chefs, and it's fantastic. The guy gets it. And some of these celebrities that they are humble, they understand, they would get it. And there was a level of celebrity that people could say, man, some celebrities were just not stuck to the Hollywood bubble, and they just had to be under the makeup, under the lights, all this and that, right? The thing was that there were certain stars. They were built to go ahead and entertain on multiple levels, a variety of different things. They could sing, they could dance, they could perform. And that's not so much now with some of the celebrities we have. If they did, they would find a way to go ahead and do something more of themselves. But they don't. And that's where we are. I mean, think about it. Of the stars we have right now, like Jason Derulo himself, he is resurrected. He has really reinvigorated his career. It was never going away. He was just more of a European stop. But now, Jason Derulo is all over the place. I think he is. Just how it goes. Kendall Jenner, obviously, when it comes to the Kardashians and that show going away, the Jenners will not go away. At least Kylie won't. Pretty sure of that. I don't know how the Kardashians, if they even need to. But again, you look at who's out there and who's become popular. Again, the TikTok is one of those places to go. The Instagram also the same thing. YouTube, same thing. And, those stars are not looking to go and be made onto a network or onto some bigger platform in some cases. They don't have to. Some of them are getting pulled out from that space to be something more. But again, look who's getting viral. Logan Paul's getting viral because he goes again. He has boxing matches, and they're charging $50 for a pay-per-view for that. And that's just what we're getting. It's a fascinating thing on who is becoming influencers overnight. Everyday people with different quirky characters or personalities that make them who they are. They become a gimmick. It's like in wrestling. You have a gimmick. You have a character that is multidimensional. You got catchphrases. You have what people say. You have all these different things. And we get to learn different cultures, different places. It's fascinating. And, I love it all. And I'm embracing it more than anything else. And it just tells me that celebrities just don't matter anymore. There's not as many comedians I see out there that are getting obviously when they can't perform, they have to go to some podcast or do their own podcast, and that's good. Some celebrities are doing their own podcast. That's good. Okay. But again, the level to be influencers and to be part of the new era, the digital age that is continuing to evolve, where short form programming is king, where that content is just royal right now. Getting things viral that you can. And the fact that some stars, if somehow some of their music gets out there, some older music comes up into the fray, and the influencers decide to do something with it, they just decide to go ahead and take something and make it fresh and new and interesting again. I mean, damn. Rasputin by Boney M is now a viral song again. Like not as much this week, but last week was viral. And it's amazing how much that's gotten along of just that. And, it's not even so much people doing challenges. Maybe I'm not seeing as many challenges, but again, there are some, and they are triggered, right? That's part of where Olivia Rodrigo's driver's license song came from, was from TikTok. Erica Banks' Bus It. The fact that we now hear the word busing is a much more common phrase. And then you just hear like certain clips and memes and things. It's hilarious. Punk end, I'm going to fuck, right? And all these different noises you see, all these different things are just entertaining. And to be easily entertained, it's what Quibi wished they would have been. But again, Quibi was supposed to be the kind of idea that was supposed to create the short form content in a similar fashion. But again, we're obviously seeing that people don't want to see it so glam and so over the top. Maybe they will again at some point. But again, it's like when the pandemic kind of subsides, when the vaccinations are all through, and people are allowed to go back out to live events, live music, or movies, or Broadway shows, or go to the movie theaters, and we get back to people congregating again. Once that happens, are they going to feel the same way? Are we going to get back to where we were? Music, absolutely. Because I think people will always be drawn to music, and they'll want that back. Now, television, we see that overall, network and cable, they are drowning right now. And so the corporate entities, I always talk about, they have to go ahead and catch up on streaming, which is what they hope they do. And with the movies they have also, and just everything they have under in their purview, under their umbrella that they're working on, that they have to work on, hope to try to go and recoup on, because certain sectors of what they're doing, like I say at Disney, having an ESPN that's hemorrhaging viewers, and they're having the hemorrhage content and give it up. And, other places where you just have cable channels are just kind of dying over the vine of what they're going to be doing next. The reality shows are not holding up as much as anymore, because reality is right now on the influencer side. They've taken over the influencer side. And you have people that, again, they might be just one trick ponies. They might have just one particular gimmick or some dimension about them that we watch. But again, it's just like what reality shows were. Same idea. And there's where we are. And because of the fact that the smartphones are so well done now, and people have learned how easily it is able to be done, first of all, when it comes to podcasting, to get the right equipment, get the right audio, make yourself sound good, do it from home. People have time to go and figure it out. Same thing for all the video content. People found the ring lights. They found, let's get the makeup going, this and that. I mean, people have found a way to be successful through all these different measures. So let's delve into the story, the breakdown of what influencers are doing and how they are taking over celebrities, becoming the real show business, the new show business in this new decade of the 2020s, because it's obviously getting there now. So questionpro.com puts out a quick little thing. This is part of their information. It's something they put out here as a blog post, but of course they're their own product company and this and that. They do survey software. So they did put out this, and I thought it was still pretty interesting, a good way to start things off. There's been a major disruption in consumer marketing in recent years. When the DVR to fast forward through commercials and ad blockers on the internet, brands needed another way to reach consumers. Celebrity endorsements have been around as early as the 1920s and have gained new traction in the age of social media. With social media, celebrities are able to interact with and influence their fan base directly. According to marketing firm Media Kicks, Beyonce can earn $1 million for a sponsored social media post. Selena Gomez can earn more than $500,000, and Kendall Jenner up to $300,000. But you don't have to be a celebrity to get paid to post. And the thing is, these days the brands, I don't think they want to spend that kind of money on these celebrities because they're starting to lose their value. They're not as marketable as once previously noticed because they're just, when they haven't had anything to promote, anything to put out, because the machine that runs them has been completely stalled, right? They haven't been able to restart it. And it takes, you have the issues with the unions, which was already looming beforehand and has really never come back in a full scale level. The packaging and the issues that came around for all the different people behind the scenes to get properly paid and being under this union format and getting, again, the obliteration of the agencies. So the agencies, the people that are managing at the levels, they're not looking at celebrities right now. Some people are just going to influencers and starting to decide, we're going to start managing these influencers instead of celebrities. Less headache, less control, less deal with controlling people that are controlling the careers of these people. It's people that you can bring on that could just be a flash in the pan, but at least we're going to get to work with them. If they're viral, they're hot right now, let's make something out of them. That's what they're doing. So modern consumers expect authentic brand relationships have begun to see through celebrity endorsements as the financial transactions they are. Absolutely correct. I mean, I could look in the Super Bowl commercials a couple weeks ago, and I could just tell when I looked for the commercial for Uber Eats and just to see, the Wayne's World stuff being brought back up and Cardi B being part of it, I was like, man, the Cardi B part was probably the more interesting. But again, that there are just certain things that you're starting to see the lack of people that can use to endorse and market. It's just not working as it once did. So there was data from MuseFind that shows that 93% of consumers now trust an influencer more than an advertisement or traditional celebrity endorsement. A study by Gen.video found that 33% said influencers are trusted sources when making shopping decisions, while only 17% trusted friends and family for shopping recommendations. Influencers are becoming important. They are important now. That's how it comes down to. They go on to say it makes sense that brands are moving away from the expensive celebrity endorsement. While celebrities have mass appeal and fans, they did. But this is now the pandemic. The mass appeal and fan base that cannot go ahead and get close to these celebrities. Well, they can get as close to anybody else through a smartphone or a tablet or a computer. It's just changed because the level of interaction the celebrities had before, they don't have anymore. It's gone. Like, how important is a Cameron Diaz or a Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio or, you pick your stars. How important are they? It's what's happening. One of the best features of influencers for brands and consumers alike is that they are generally experts in their respective fields. People turn to them for advice, tips, and recommendations regarding consumer products. A study by Collective Bias found that 3% consumers, 3% only, would consider purchasing a celebrity-endorsed product. 30% would buy a product endorsed by a non-celebrity influencer. Bam. The money is where it's going, and there's more to it. Influencers also provide insight into their personal lives, interact with their followers, which is something that might not be allowed when a celebrity cannot really open up about themselves and be very personable. Or they have to create some kind of facade that's being orchestrated or contrived, right? Or scripted. These actions create a relationship and generate trust between the consumer and influencer. According to eMarketer, an estimated $570 million was spent globally in 2017 on influencer marketing, and 39% of marketers will increase their influencer marketing budgets by 2018. This is only a couple of years ago. We started seeing the change. Now, because of the pandemic, it has completely flipped around. 360. It is 180, excuse me, not 360. 180. It's completely gone. And there are 5 reasons why influencers are better than celebrities. We'll go into that. What Media Kicks, which is what I just preferenced before, they make the point about it. And they say that 59% of brand marketers now are planning to increase their influencer marketing budgets in the next year. 5 reasons why. The partnerships with brand influencers are better than those with movie stars, pop icons, models, and other traditional celebrities. Well, tradition's breaking quickly. Number 1, brand influencers drive purchases. 30% of consumers are more likely to purchase a product endorsed by a blogger than a celebrity. And that's from ZDNet. They were referencing a marketing research firm, Collective Bias, that put out a study. They also said that 70% of millennials, consumers aged 18 to 34, preferred peer endorsements, those from friends, family members, or social media stars, over recommendations from traditional celebrities. Social influencers appeal to millennials and the younger. A recent survey by Tech Insider found that 73% of teens and young adults report feeling a genuine connection with a YouTuber. Only 45% said the same about a TV or movie star. And RELSEO reported 60% of 18 to 24-year-olds would try a product recommended by a YouTuber, compared to 50%, less than 50%, from a celebrity. There you go. Another interesting point, Fast Company puts this out. Women are less trusting of celebrities. And a survey of nearly 1,500 women found that 86% of participants put the most trust in recommendations from real people. 58% of women surveyed said they learned about products from services from YouTube brand influencers. Tells you everything. Brand influencers are relatable. That's number 4. And then number 5, brands prefer to work with influencers over celebrities. And this is from a survey of 500 marketing industry professionals. 80% of marketing executives currently work with brand influencers in some capacity. And the majority claim they prefer working with social media stars over collaborating with musicians, sports stars, actors, and models. Now, why is that? There was a time where celebrities were much more approachable, much more likable, much more pliable. There was a point where the persona off screen or off camera or off microphone of a particular celebrity traditionally used to be really good. I mean, think about it. You had particular situations where you used to have these celebrity driven game shows. You know, I always talk about Match Game, one of my favorites. And you look at the level of stars that you had. If you were able to put them on a Match Game show, they would do great. And they would, pull the ratings, and, people would go and watch, and they would be able to find people that were actually likable and funny and pleasant and amicable. Things like that. Well, we don't have that now. Those kind of stars are not around. Or stars that would kind of get together and okay, say for instance, we used to have a thing, I saw somebody put this on Facebook. We used to have a thing where celebrities got together on particular events. Celebrity bowling. Used to have a thing back in the 70s. Another thing in the 70s and 80s, we used to have Battle of the Network Stars, where the networks, Fox, it would be ABC, CBS, NBC, they would definitely have all their stars from their particular shows be part of this whole field day competition. tug of war, swimming, running, all these different events. And it will be fascinating to watch. We also had Circus of the Stars. We'd have celebrities get involved with that. And it wasn't even that long ago we used to have celebrity baking competitions, like kind of like that too. But again, that's only for cable. And some of that kind of stuff used to actually happen over on, the network TV. You used to have some big events. You used to have like an all-star cast. And you'd have people that would be able to, adjust to whatever kind of content you wanted to do. Because they weren't stiff. And they were entertaining overall. And they were likable. And there was just a difference. Again, it's having people feel like real people. And we don't have that right now. Now, there's a lot of stars. You could never see them as real. John Travolta, Tom Hanks. You could never see them as real characters, real people. And get to see them at a lower level, which is not behind the screen with all the pomp and circumstance, or at award shows. You just don't have that much anymore. It's very rare. And they're probably not allowed to either, which is the other point. So there's a couple of stories that have come out recently about this, and this one's kind of interesting. A brand marketing expert actually spoke to Haute Living, Haute Living. The expert is Dylan Vanis, and he talked about the importance of influencer marketing. So here's the perspective we're getting from it. Now, the background on Dylan Vanis, or Vanis, I'm guessing it is. He runs a multi-million-dollar marketing consulting agency. In the overview, they talk about how there are billions of people on social media platforms. Now, remember that. Everybody in the world is on social media, as opposed to trying to get a concentrated amount of people, of the masses, watching a movie or a TV show at any given time. But social media is 24/7. It's all the time. You can access it really easily from your phone, from your tablet. It's not hard. Okay? On Instagram in particular, influencers enjoy exceptional popularity due to how the platform is designed. Someone who has a large and engaged social media following has the power to leverage that following and influence people to buy a product or service. At the very least, they can increase the brand awareness and social media presence of a brand that collaborates with an influencer. But getting in front of that target audience is becoming increasingly more challenging. And this is due to the fact that social media platforms are highly saturated at this point. While you have the potential to reach billions of people, there is far too much other content grasping at other people's attention for yours to ever get in front of most of them. Teaming up with a social media influencer is one way to work around that. So here's the point that Dylan makes. He says he sees it being dependent on a few factors. One of them is the need to select an influencer in your specific niche, or you'll just be wasting your money. Then doing your research when considering picking a particular influencer to collaborate with, because the follower count alone will not tell the entire story of an influencer. You got to also look at how many likes and comments they receive. And that's the idea of it. And they also make a mention that imagine having 1 million people instantly know about your brand. It's possible when a mega influencer spreads the word about it. Speaking directly to their audience, an influencer who has a dedicated fan base will be able to successfully persuade a sizable segment of them to take action. The return on investment, or ROI, on what it costs to have an influencer promote a brand is several-fold, which is why this has become an incredibly popular marketing strategy used by businesses today. Now, Forbes also put out a story that also explains in the same vein. Rebecca Bellon had to put out a story that says study reveals that Instagram Reels are better for brands. TikTok is better for influencers. So there's the other distinction. Which social media platform works best for what you're doing? And again, it's the same idea where we're getting the content that is entertaining. It doesn't feel like an ad in some cases. And again, it's an endorsement from somebody that's trusted, or that people can feel they can trust. Because I think what's happening now is that also these influencers, for the most part, they're trying to put themselves behind products that are not going to make them look bad, because they are putting themselves on the line individually. It's not like they're having some kind of brand where the next thing that might come along, they'll just wait for the next product to come along to go and push. Well, no, if they fail on this, then that's on them. That's why it is a make or break for all these influencers to make sure that if they get the opportunity to put out a product or endorse some kind of a service, they got to be able to make it happen. So there's a pressure right there that comes along the more than what celebrities have, because celebrities can always find the next project coming along. And but the problem is now is that the projects they might have coming along might not be as much. And the truth is that, the celebrities, they realize that they got to continue to be out there and be noticed, because if they stay away from the public eye too long, then people are going to ask and say, hey, what happened to this person? This person's not as popular anymore. The star-driven power that they have is diminished greatly, and it's been diminished now for more than a year, thanks to the pandemic. That's what it comes down to. And has forced the social media companies to also take aim and to position themselves even more. And we're seeing that some social media channels are positioned to be for one or the other, which is why Instagram and TikTok are trying to find themselves in their right niches. Again, TikTok, influencers, Instagram, brands. So Instagram offers alone a dizzying mix of platform extensions, static posts, IG stories, IGTV, guides, and more. Since August 2020, they added Reels to the mix in order to go up against TikTok. And now the thing is, we're starting to see where everybody's trying to find their lane. Facebook doing the thing with their music videos, trying to work on that. YouTube obviously is looking to also add more things, create their own short videos, kind of take a bit of the rest of the market off of TikTok, off of Instagram, off of Facebook and whatnot through YouTube. They're trying to work that out too. Markerly, an influencer marketing agency, recently analyzed posts from 80 influencers and 10 brands on both TikTok and Instagram and found Reels is currently the best place for brands. TikTok remains the queen of influencer and celebrity culture. According to the study, celebrities and influencers receives almost double the likes and engagement on TikTok as compared to Reels. Meanwhile, brands such as the NBA demonstrated the same post on TikTok received 63,000 likes on TikTok and 425,000 likes on Reels. So Justin Klein, who's co-founder of Markerly, he says that when looking at brands, quote, Reels receive higher engagements, and we speculate that's due to the presences they've established and cultivated for significantly longer than on TikTok. TikTok made its name on authentic, fun, and creative content led by real people. It's no surprise that individual users still win out against brands on the app. TikTokers come to see dance challenges, songs, and pranks, and not overly branded content. But dare I say, there's much more that's given. A lot more advice, a lot more tips and tricks. It's not just dance challenges, songs, and pranks. It's definitely not. I can tell you there's a few things, there are things that I'm getting that are takeaways from TikTok. You will be surprised that it's not just mindless programming. Not all the time, based on what your For You page might have. If your algorithm is looking for you to find something that's much more educational, much more informative, you can find it. It's out there, just depending on the hashtag you want. It's becoming much more than I thought. At least that's the way I look at it. And that's what it comes down for more everything else. And it's quite interesting that way. Insider.com, which was Business Insider, also put out a story that was very fascinating with what they're doing as well when it comes to what the top 17 influencer marketers at brands. They're planning creative campaigns and partnering effectively with creators at Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So what are they doing and where are they working on right now? So they're recognizing the top influencer marketing executives at brands like Chipotle and HelloFresh. And that these brands are running innovative campaigns and creating lasting partnerships. So one of them is SeatGeek, and Ian Borthwick talked about how, quote, first of all, being an effective influencer marketing executive sometimes means knowing when to give up control. Quote, I think a lot of brands make the mistake of sending over these incredibly complex and restrictive creative briefs. Ultimately, those produce bad influencer marketing. It's important to take the back seat and let the influencer do what they do best. So the advertisers are now having to adopt the fact that, hey, You don't know this market. You don't know their people. The influencer knows what they're doing. They know how to get something across, whatever it might be. If it's just something they randomly talk about, then they're going to do it. And so if they're doing that, then what are you going to do? You can't force and contrive and script something like you do a celebrity. These are not professionals. But that's the point. We don't want to see professionals. We want to see people we can probably see on the street every day. That's what's happening. The internet has caused where more people can be individuals and we can see more of everyday people out there making their own content. That's what they're doing right now. It's very important. As the influencer industry grows, more companies are turning to digital stars to help drive sales. By 2022, brands are set to spend up to $15 billion on influencer marketing. That's money the celebrities are losing out on now. And, how much can I blame celebrities? I don't know. Maybe some. But again, they didn't catch on to this early. And, they're not expected to. They're under contract in a lot of cases. And there's also an image they have to go and portray where they can't really just push themselves, can't put their neck out unless they find a way to do that. And what's been unfortunate is you can tell the celebrities are trying to catch on secondhand. It's embarrassing. Seeing Sylvester Stallone or Bruce Willis or Jack Black. Oh my God, seeing Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit and doing the gimmick of, aren't you Fred Durst? And this is like an ongoing gimmick he's doing right now. It's like, it's not working. It's just not working. There's some that had done a little bit with this and they did better. Like J-Lo's done really good with Alex Rodriguez and the kind of stuff they did there. Wayne Brady's done an excellent job on the platform and he's pretty big name. And like I said, there's others that you've seen that have found their way on. And, it's just interesting. There's not that many celebrities that found their way on. And if they did, they got into it late and they're doing a bad job of it. It's kind of tough. Reese Witherspoon trying her hardest. Damn her. Bless her heart. Trying hard. It's just not working. You just can't force people down their throats what you do when you have them on a different platform. It doesn't work. Your conventional television or movies, it's just not working like it does on your phone. It just doesn't. It's not going to work. Or your watch. You never know what you're watching on. Influencer marketing campaigns happen across all major social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, and podcasting apps. Marketers hire social stars to promote a brand or product in exchange for compensation. So it's not even the contract that goes in by or any kind of advance. And it's usually promoting a brand or product in exchange. So again, just a barter in some cases. Maybe there's some money in the back end. Who knows? But again, that's all they have to do. The goal of a campaign is to promote a product or service and convert influencers' followers into paying customers. Now, sometimes brands will hire an outside agency to run all influencer marketing efforts, and others have built an in-house team. And the professionals will set out with a specific goal, expectation, a way to measure the overall campaign, and decide what audience the brand they work for should reach, and then pair with an influencer who has the right target audience. Now, here's some of the things we have. Some of the work has been ranging. There was a YouTube reality show where a student was given a $25,000 scholarship. Oh, sorry. The YouTube reality show was given by SeatGeek. Chipotle offered a student a $25,000 scholarship. And then one on Dunkin' Donuts, they offered one of TikTok's top creators to name a drink after. And they've all found creative ways to promote their brands in partnership with digital creators. And then they get into the state of influencer marketing in 2021. By the way, the TikTok star that got to go and promote a drink on Dunkin', well, that was Charli D'Amelio. She had her own drink on Dunkin' Donuts called the Charlie. There you go. So there's a few trends that are driving influencer marketing right now in 2021. Here's what Insider says. Long-term partnerships have become vital for both brands and influencers. Brands have begun to hire more nano and micro-level influencers. And TikTok has caught the attention of brands looking to reach Gen Z customers. Brian Sorrell, CEO of NeoReach, an influencer marketing company, says, quote, TikTok is here to stay, and brands know that. I don't think anything compares to the rush we are seeing on TikTok. Even when Instagram releases something like Reels or Snap response with Spotlight, most of the new marketing spend is being funneled to TikTok. But even with TikTok's viral success, Instagram is still the top platform for running a campaign. 79% of brands predominantly use Instagram for influencer campaigns. And when it comes to a campaign on Instagram, brands are hiring more nano and micro influencers. Nano influencers generally have between 2,500 and 10,000 followers on Instagram. Micro influencers between 10,000 and 100,000 followers on Instagram. There's a lifestyle subscription box brand called FabFitFun, looking for influencers who haven't worked with brands before. Then you have from the CEO of the influencer marketing agency Sway Group, they're talking about how, quote, we're seeing, especially from really big brands, a real excitement over nano and micro. When you're keeping a close eye on your budgets and looking at every single dollar, it just becomes a lot harder to justify some of the celebrity spends because they just don't have the results. But top marketers are cutting out mega influencers completely. Top stars with high engagement, including David Dobrik and Charli D'Amelio, have driven interest with numerous brands from Chipotle to Dunkin'. Many marketers that are on the power list now derive their success from working with a mix of mega influencers and those with smaller follower counts. So everybody gets a chance to get a piece of the pie. And some of the products that are getting out there that I'm sure people are going to see more and more often because of the campaigns that are being done through influencer marketing, you're going to see Casetify. They do customizable phone cases and other tech accessories that now they have a as seen on TikTok tab on their website for shopping for their viral products. And again, they work with creators such as Dylan Conrique, who has 1.3 million Instagram followers, Orion Carlotto with almost 500,000 YouTube subscribers, and Summer McKean with 2.2 million YouTube subscribers. And again, running the campaign, they put it on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. That's one. Then here's a higher brand, Champ Sports at Foot Locker. Now, here's what they did with this. They worked with Jesser, a YouTuber, 3.2 million subscribers. Max's Nicey, with over 1 million Instagram followers. Tony D2 Wild, almost 700,000 YouTube subscribers. And Bull1 TRC with 858,000 YouTube subscribers as of press time. And they ran campaigns on Julius, Spreaker, not Spreaker, but Sprinker, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. And there you go. So, for instance, the YouTube stars, they did a live sneaker show with product sneak peeks, unboxings, and giveaways, and launched a program to send a sneaker line called the Jordan Gatorade Park to influencers and celebrities like DJ Khaled and Kies Omar. With Chipotle, okay, they partnered with many internet celebrities for initiatives like launching the David Dobrik burrito and giving TikTok star Addison Rae a celebrity burrito card from Chipotle, which gave her access to a year of free food and was gifted to her by legendary skateboarder Tony Hawk. Then you have a U.S. online-only bank called Current, which is getting some face right now. They are working with top creators like David Dobrik and members of the FaZe clan to promote the brand. And they have done over 1,000 influencer marketing campaigns in the last 2 years. And when you're working with influencers like this, with the kind of work that they're doing, probably doesn't take that much for them to get the kind of group they want to get online. It's amazing. In this particular campaign, they actually worked with FaZe Rug, which had 18 million YouTube subscribers, Cody Ko with 5 million YouTube subscribers, and Lauren Zide with 5 million YouTube subscribers. And then they put out campaigns on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Twitch. Dollar Shave Club has put out campaigns in a lot of different directions. In the same way, Dunkin' Donuts also is a big part of this as well. Epic Games. You want to talk about games, right? focusing on lifestyle and culture influencer campaigns for Fortnite and House Party. They're doing that. And for them last year, they worked with TikTok stars Addison Rae Easterling and Dixie D'Amelio for companies in the House Party TikTok campaign, generating over 6 billion views on the app. Celebrities can't do this. Estee Lauder, what a huge, massive, traditional brand, a long-standing brand. They're in this as well. And of course, the makeup lines, that's just something else. The makeup tutorials that are on there, all Instagram followers, did an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Again, if they wanted to do something when it came to their makeup line, well, they have Patricia Bright with 1.2 million Instagram followers, Naima Tang, 500,000 Instagram followers, Alexandra Pereira, 2 million Instagram followers, Beatrice Valley, 2.7 million Instagram followers. And that's what they're doing. That's what's happening. FabFitFun we talked about. Same thing. HelloFresh. The meal kit delivery company. Also in the same way. Honey. It's a browser extension that finds and automatically applies discounts for products. Also getting out there. One of the top creators they're using is Mr. Beast, a YouTube star with 52 million subscribers. One of the tops. Nestle US also doing the same thing. Developing strategies for Nestle brands like Nesquik, Hot Pockets, and Coffee Mate. Remember the kind of money they had to go and put out to try to get themselves on, like, say, Saturday morning programming, or put it out, say in the mornings or in afternoons, and the kind of level of programming they had to go on to, hopefully to get some of the audience to go ahead and buy into it. But again, these are products that are going to Gen Zs and millennials. A market that's been hard enough for people to go ahead and get products to be bought by. This is the other market that people think, oh, well, no, we just need to go after the 25 to 54-year-olds, the 18 to 49-year-old market. No, you want to get all of them. The young people have some money, and they're getting them to buy. This is what's happening now. Riot, it's Riot Games. They're also part of this. They partner with streamers on Twitch. And they did a closed beta launch for one of their games, setting a record on Twitch for the most single-day hours watched in a single game category, 34 million hours. And they ran, a lot of different campaigns. The creators they work with, they work with Post Malone. Well, they pick some celebrities that have a big following. So Post Malone, 22.9 million Instagram followers. Zed, 6.2 million Instagram followers. And Ninja, 16.7 million Twitch followers. That's what they had right there. We talked about SeatGeek. There is Skillshare. And again, there's Stitch Fix. There's all these different campaigns of people that we've never even heard of before that are out here. And they're just making the money. And just putting out so much. This is what's important. These are everyday people. Now, they have been able to take their time and build up an audience. The reason I bring this up, and this is why I talk about it here on the Broadcasters Podcast, is because these people are broadcasting. It's just another level of broadcasting. People are entertaining. They are entertaining the masses, or informing or educating. They're doing some of the things that some of the other people don't do out there anymore. These corporate entities, that's what they used to do. Or at least we thought they did. But we're getting more out of our social media than we do ever before. But then most importantly, because social media has evolved in the last 5-6 years to where we have all these different places. And now what the new future is now audio. So now audio is going to start getting to be put into place as well, because podcasting started getting a lot of money being put into. Podcasting is getting a lot of merging, a lot of different convergence going on as well in the space. We got that going on as well. But then what you also have is at apps like Clubhouse. Twitter's going to have their own thing called Twitter Spaces. They're going to start doing audio-only content or creating audio communities. Clubhouse is taking off. That's the next new viral thing right now. And if it's going to be some place where people can go and start doing some things to converge together, because I'll tell you, when Twitter Spaces comes out, I'm going to start trying to get on that. I'm going to see if I can try to make something and get some time on there, try to interact. Because the interactivity is one of the hardest things to do with podcasting these days. Hard enough to try to get, advertising on here. because of a certain level. I mean, again, it's also the level of marketing and advertising that people are trying to do. Because remember, what you got to think about as well is that the influencers, they might be supplementing this income. Some of them might be able to go ahead and just supplement their entire income for what they're doing with influencer marketing, with all the different pipelines of monetization. And most important, these are people that are entrepreneurs. They might have just stumbled onto it, but they figured out something. And you can see that people are taking time and spending more money. And what's really amazing as well is there are just certain people that you could just see that, hey, they're stepping up their game. Like, I can't tell you how many TikTok or Instagram people that I've seen that all of a sudden they might have had a certain level of quality to their content, and they've all stepped up. Podcasting, the same thing. Just within the circles of what I have right now of all the networks I run, there's a lot of people that are trying to say, hey, man, we're starting to see what people are spending right now on getting good equipment, and they're doing it. And the best part is that we don't need the equipment of what everybody else has. Okay? For myself, only speaking for myself, when I think about the fact that when I first started doing the podcasting of my own, remember, I go back to 2005, and the quality wasn't as great. It was before Skype. We only got into Skype in 2006. And so beforehand, a lot of our people we had to go and talk to us through phones. So that's the early days of podcasting. And then basically by about, the early 2010s, we started hearing everybody was pretty much on Skype. And it was only, 3 years ago that we got on Zoom. And Zoom started being what we started using ourselves at WMR.FM and Cannabis Radio to get all of our content out. So that changed. And the video content now is much easier to record as well. But it's because the cameras that have been built out, say through iPhone or Android devices, they're so good. There's about, 10 to 15 to 16 to 22, 25 pixels of, cameras. You don't even need a set camera anymore. You don't need like a Canon EOS or like one of those set cameras anymore. You can still do that, but again, the kind of level cameras you can have right now, GoPros or whatever you want, is becoming so simple now to go ahead and get the kind of equipment that you need to go ahead and be able to go ahead and do what you want to do. The at-home content, you have pretty professional equipment available now and very accessible to buy, to get. So for me in this studio, I remember I didn't have the greatest microphone over here. I had a Sam Ash based brand, Samson. That's my first one. And I did use that. And I remember, it wasn't the greatest, but it was good. The quality was okay. And then I remember all I started doing was just saying, okay, well, I'm going to start adding more to the mix. Adding padding on the walls, getting the audio buffering, the baffling in here. I mean, even for me right now, the only thing you might hear in the background is my fan going on the background, but it's, white noise more or less. So it's okay. One of the things I always read is that when you do radio, you don't necessarily need to be completely dead. So a little bit of white noise isn't going to hurt anything, especially what I have right here. And because of this setup, I'm actually pretty good where it's actually very comfortable doing the show like this. Now, again, I'm doing this out of my bedroom. Doing this on a lazy boy sofa. Well, not a sofa, but like a single accent chair, an armchair. I have my boom microphone that's hooked up to my Shure MV7 microphone, the USB microphone. And I just have myself sitting down here nice and comfortably. I got my little virtual desk, whatever this desk is I get from Bed Bath & Beyond, this little TV tray type thing that slides right in with my laptop hooked up. I got my editing software running, recording my content, and I'm just sitting here. To my side, I have a little table that have a few things, either remotes or things like that, or drinks. I usually have either water and a soda sitting next to me while I'm doing the show to hydrate. And that's what I do. It's pretty simple like that. And I've done the video stuff as well, personally. I was doing video right now. I was doing green screens for a little while, early on in the mix when the pandemic started. But then really, I didn't feel like it wasn't much of a difference to be on the camera to show everything. Like the visual component, I wasn't doing much of it. I'm still a radio guy at heart. I'm a podcaster at heart. So I didn't necessarily need to go put myself out there and be noticed, because I didn't think it made much of a difference to have a talking head talking over the content. I saw it because I saw other people do it, and I figured maybe I should do it myself. But I stopped doing it. And all I do now is just put a visual slate up, and I talk over that on a YouTube video. And you know what? Learning some things from TikTok and a few other things. I take the content I do here, I promote it. I just go and record all my content. I got a set schedule when I record content. I prepare and I research and I do my due diligence on everything I talk about, and I prepare it. I'll do the graphics. I'll do everything I need to do to make everything presentable, professional sounding, professional looking, all that. And then put it together. Do the audio first, then put it into a video form. And again, the distribution, the audience I can get to, it's amazing on how far I've been able to get with all this. The thing is that, there is a certain level of being an influencer, which is the other thing. If you have a talent, if you have something that you can do that's going to attract a mass audience, then do it. Here's the other thing that's got to be said as well. Because podcasting, if I want to talk about this 10 years ago, people laughed at podcasting. And I bet you people laughed at, I can make money off the internet. Like the way I do. I could just put myself up and, influencer, I could just do makeup tutorials, or I could show myself, wearing outfits or showing off shoes or, whatever. And just doing what I do, or just playing video games for a living and making money off of it. Well, now you can. You can make a pretty good living off of this, or you can make it into something else and make something more, or you can become an entrepreneur as a result of the money that you make, you invest, you put into it. The other thing that's going to be said is that some of these people have also learned how to invest and put their money away and say, you know what, we got to be careful what we're doing. We want to make sure that, they know that they can't just do the influencing thing all their lives. There's only a certain shelf life for some of this as well. Or they have to evolve and change with the times. So that's okay too. We're going to have some people that are going to become YouTube and Instagram stars that are going to become outdated and going to get older. Because it will be always going to be room for the next new, young, hot, pretty, or fascinating, or handsome, or talented person that comes along as the next influencer. Influencers will come and go. And that's what's interesting too, is that we also have certain stars. When we're talking about some of the names that are YouTube subscribe, or that have the large followings on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and others, they're so young. Like Addison Rae, I think was 19 years old, 20 years old. Charli D'Amelio was 17, 16. Think about that. And then you have some of the stars that I followed. Again, you see some people try to get on the TikTok and just not working as well. Some of the Food Network stars I've seen on there, I've seen Rachel Ray, and it's very, very produced, and it's like it just doesn't work. Ming Tsai, who used to do East Meets West. That was a Food Network show. He was pretty good. And he's kind of like restarting himself over there. And again, some people just figured out some of the things they could do without having to go in and do much. For Gordon Ramsay to just do duets on a regular basis and just comment on something is fantastic. It's hilarious. And, it's fascinating because, we used to think about how Duck Dynasty or Honey Boo Boo and all these different shows we'd watch, and how some people would be fascinated over the people we watch on screen. Well, those reality shows are not so much anymore. Like, the Chrisleys and this and that. You're not seeing a lot of those kind of shows being brought up to the forefront anymore. Because they don't have to. Because now we have influencers. And it's a different story. So the way the celebrities are being looked at now, it's changed. And what has to happen is that, celebrities, what they have to figure out is they have to be much more digitally adapted or adopted. That has to happen. For the new celebrities that come into play, they have to be much more engaged. Much more engaged online than ever before. They're going to have to be able to multitask and be able to become influencers on their own. And they're going to have to compete with the rest of the brand influencers that are out there, if they want to get a piece of the endorsements. And be able to get something else besides what their contracts are going to say. And then the red tape, try to go independent and not be relied on agencies or managers and all these people that are going to try to take a cut of what you're doing, that might just change too. So influencers are the in thing, and they're not going away. This is a permanent change. The pandemic escalated it. As we've talked about for the last few weeks, we talked about how streaming has basically just taken over everything when it comes to media. And when it comes to branding and marketing, and when it comes to also another form of media, the social media end has also made major waves. Influencers are more important than celebrities right now. That change is real. It has happened. There's no doubt about it. So again, like I said, there's so much more I could talk about that I had actually put up, and I'm going to wait because, God, there's so much more. I'm going to have to wait till next week to talk about it. It's because I have a Mitch Albom story about celebrity. Oh, man, should I talk about this yet? No, I'm going to have to bring it up next week. I got so much more to talk about. The obsession over celebrity is being dropped. That's a Mitch Albom story. I'm going to bring that up next week. There's obviously now the social campaign. While celebrities are vulnerable and corporations that manage these celebrities like puppets are vulnerable, there's now a new Eat the Rich plan. We'll talk about that next week. And there was a story I didn't get a chance to talk about the fake famous documentary that HBO put out that said how influencer marketing, they got it all wrong. There's also that to talk about as well. And there's other things I'm going to bring up. So I will wait until next week to bring that all up. But again, we're already up at an hour. And that's where I said we're going to stop. Come back for another Broadcasters podcast. And like I said, influencers, all of you out there, if you feel like Hollywood and show business and Broadway are not going to be there for you, you now see that the door is wide open for you to start making content from your home. And that all you need is a smartphone and some talent. And find what is your niche. You never know what it might be. Remember, content is king. And, you know, corporates and celebrities and other people, the bigger companies and the bigger entities out there, they can't control some of that. Because that control of that content is in your hands. Talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Broadcasters Podcast. Find all the links to subscribe to the show by going to broadcasterspodcast.com. And don't forget to check out the King of Podcasts wrestling program, the Wrestling is Real podcast, exclusively at wrestlingisreal.com.